Hey everybody! Oh, it's like I haven't used my voice yet. I have, but I'm not for a little bit. I've been watching videos. Anyway, hello, hi, how are you? How are things out there? I thought that I would pop in and do, today's the 1st of September, so I thought I would talk about Shorty September, which is always really fun. Just a good time. I had so much fun doing Shorty September last year. It kind of got truncated because of things that were going on in September. But this year, I've just kind of got September is open. Um, don't really have any travel, just work, usual work. God, wouldn't it just wouldn't be a video for me if I wasn't like adjusting and doing, things on camera as opposed to like before I turned on the camera. Anyway, I thought I would talk about some of my pile of possibilities for Shorty September, which is hosted by Bert and Sean at Story Time and Too Many Heathers, Heather at Too Many Heathers. And yeah, it's basically books that are 200 pages or less. Read to your heart's content. It's a great way. I guess if you're concerned about your numbers, it's a great way to like catch up to your number for the year or to surpass your number for the year. I don't really care. But it is a nice way to get. I don't know. It does feel good to kind of accomplish and finish a bunch of books and sort of feel, especially if you have a big TBR sitting on your shelf, to kind of feel like you made progress on a stack of books. And I that definitely does apply to me. So, um, I'll just get into it. I guess I've got, let's see, one, two, three. I'm counting what I've got on my, I've got seven books on Kindle, and then I've got six books here, that are physical books. And I've already started. I actually already started my Shorty September, my first book for Shorty September yesterday, and I am currently reading Caledonia by Elspeth Barker. And let me just let me look it up. I'm not prepared. I No one's surprised. I mean, you're not that surprised. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm about halfway through. And I picked it up. I've heard great things about it, and I got it on Kindle sale a while ago. And a friend of mine here is reading it, and when she told me she was reading it, I was like, "Oh, I have that." And she's like, "Oh, well, great." And I said, "So I'll go ahead and read it." And she finished it and said she wanted to immediately read it again, which is not something I think that she normally does. So I was definitely intrigued. And so she was like, "Please read it so we can talk about it because I really want to talk to somebody about it." And it does kind of have that sort of Shirley Jackson feel to it. It's about a young girl in post World War II Scotland. She lives way up in the north of Scotland with her family, and she sort of, I guess, feels very, very different from her siblings. I think she's got four siblings, maybe five siblings, a very large family, kind of a well to do family. She is the eldest, and she really loves nature and she loves literature, and she wishes that she could sort of just live alone with her books and with animals and, enjoying the beauty of nature. But she is, of course, put upon by having to do things like learn arithmetic and be nice to her siblings and have good manners and so on and so forth. So that's sort of where it is now. One of the things that's interesting is that right at the beginning of the book, this is not a spoiler because it's literally the start of the book. The protagonist Janet has died, and she is 16, and she has died. She is found at the bottom of a staircase. So it's interesting, it goes back in time and starts to tell Janet's story. And so I'm right in the middle. She must be I think she's probably maybe 11 or 12 right now. Maybe she's a little older. It's hard to tell. But I'm really, really loving the writing. It's fantastic. So I'll look forward to talking about that more when I'm finished with it. But that's my first book for Shorty September. So that's a definite. That's a definite. So I'll go through the other books that I have on Kindle and that I'm interested in reading. Possibly. This is just my pile of possibilities, but we'll see. I have some books in my stack that are definite, and then the rest is sort of like maybe I'll read them. So maybe I should do it that way. Maybe I should just go ahead and say what I know I want to read, and then I'll go through what I think I will get to if I have time. Yeah, we'll do it that way. We'll do it that way. Okay, that sounds better, doesn't it? So this is kind of a cheat because this book is really 207 pages. But if you look at the pages and the layout, it's only 207 pages because there's so much white space on the pages. Okay, so I think this can count. And this is Kevin Barry, The Heart in Winter, which I've heard really wonderful things about. You know, I love a Western, and this is a Western. And it says October 1891, Butte, Montana. A hard winter approaches across the Rocky Mountains. The city is rich on copper mines and rampant with vice and debauchery among a hard living crowd of immigrant Irish workers. Here we find Tom Rourke, a young poet and a ballad maker, but also a doper, a drinker, and a fearsome degenerate. Just as he feels his life is heading nowhere fast, Polly Gillespie arrives in town as the new bride of the devout mine captain Long Anthony Harrington. A thunderbolt love affair takes a spark between Tom and Polly, and they strike out west on a stolen horse, moving through the badlands of Montana and Idaho. Briefly an idyll of wild romance perfects itself, but a posse of deranged Cornish gunsmen are soon in hot pursuit of the lovers and closing in fast. I have really heard fantastic things about this. I actually picked this up because the writer Claire Fuller had mentioned this on her Bookstagram, and I really tend to trust her taste. We tend to have very similar tastes in books. So I thought I picked this one up, and then I was very excited when I realized I could probably get it in for Shorty September. So that's a definite. I'm definitely going to read that one this month. The other one you've heard me talk about before is Janet Malcolm's autobiography, Still Pictures. You know, I love Janet Malcolm. I think this is going to be very interesting. I just love her writing. This is, I guess as close, I guess you could say it's as close to an autobiography as we're going to ever get, you know, since Janet Malcolm passed away a couple of years ago. So this is about her love of photography and then how she gets into writing. So I'm really looking forward to this one. The others are on my Kindle, and I am planning to read. So I'm planning to read Lolly Willowes by Sylvia Townsend Warner. I have a feeling just from starting Caledonia, I have a feeling that those two books might be kind of in conversation with each other, which could be interesting. So Lolly Willowes, it says here, let's see. Lolly Willowes, a woman of quiet rebellion and hidden desires, dares to free herself from a suffocating web of familial and societal expectations. As Lolly sheds her dutiful daughter and obedient sister skin, she finds solace and freedom in the quaint village of Great Mop, with its chalk hills and beech woods. When her newfound contentment is threatened by the arrival of her nephew, she boldly embraces a dark path to secure an audacious and irrevocable freedom. So I think that sounds that description sounds like Lolly Willowes would be an older version of Janet in O Caledonia. So I'm sort of interested to see how those books will play with each other. And I've heard really great things about Lolly Willowes from Sarah at Hardcover Hearts and from Renee at The Left-Handed Reader. They both talked about this book on their channels. And so I think probably it's going to be very enjoyable. The next one that I think is going to be a definite for me, I'm really curious about it, is by Laurie Colwin. The only book by Laurie Colwin that I've ever read was Happy All the Time, which I didn't love, but I did like. And I think she's an interesting writer. I'm interested in reading more of her because I really love Katherine Heine, who wrote Early Morning Riser and Standard Deviation. And she says that Laurie Colwin is one of her favorite writers. So I'm interested in reading more Laurie Colwin and sort of seeing, like, I really like to find out more about my writers I love, the writers they love. That to me is always one of the best ways to find books to read. And this one is about a young widow, and it says when Sam Bax, that charming daredevil of a Boston lawyer, sails his boat into a storm off the coast of Maine, Elizabeth Ollie Bax, his wife and ardent sidekick, becomes a widow at the age of 27. With no pretense of courage, Ollie grieves, coping with the warmth and awkwardness of family ties and trying to rethink her own life. Realizing that her risks are as daring as any of Sam's, while he chanced life and limb, Ollie risks her heart. She finds that love can take some surprising turns. So I think that sounds like it's going to be a good short read, and set in Maine, which always love that. So kind of excited to read that one. And then next is, I think this, I'm really curious about this, and it's Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. Eliza Clark has gotten a lot of attention here on BookTube, and I picked this one up on a Kindle sale. So if I make it to this one, this would be another one that's like a kind of a priority, I think, on the list. It's too bad a lot of the books that I'm picking to prioritize are new books, and I have a lot of other short books, but we'll see how it goes, and maybe I'll just keep on with this pile of possibilities even into October if I feel. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I enjoy reading shorter books, but I tend to like longer books, especially if I really feel immersed. But it does. I was just watching Greg at Supposedly Fun, and he was talking about a book. I think it was This Is Happiness by Niall Williams, and he was talking about that, and he really said he really enjoyed it, but he felt like it could have been cut by 50 to 100 pages. And I do think, when you do get into books like that, there's you're sort of like, this could have been tightened up. This book could have been shorter. Yeah, it's a frustrating feeling. And but if a book is really immersive and I'm not noticing it at all, that's kind of a different story. Like, and I know that that's just a different experience for everybody. Like, somebody else might read that book, This Is Happiness, and say, "Oh gosh, I don't." I loved it. I was just completely immersed in it. And somebody else would say, I was speed reading through certain sections of it. I find myself doing that in some books. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. So Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. So this is sounds really intriguing. Irina obsessively takes explicit photos of the average-looking men she persuades to model for her, scouted from the streets of Newcastle. Placed on sabbatical from her dead-end bar job, she is offered an exhibition at a fashionable London gallery, promising to revive her career in the art world and offering an escape from her rut of drugs, alcohol, and extreme cinema. The news triggers a self-destructive tailspin centered around Irina's relationship with her obsessive best friend and a shy young man from her local supermarket who has attracted her attention. So, sounds a bit dark, a little edgy, kind of like that. So I think that is also going to be on the must-read list for me for Shorty September. So I've got O Caledonia, I've got Lolly Willowes, I've got Boy Parts, Shine On, Bright and Dangerous Object. Did I mention O Caledonia? Wait. Lolly Willowes, Shine On, Bright and Dangerous Object, Boy Parts, O Caledonia. 4 on the Kindle and 2 to read. So that's 6. That's 6 books. I typically read 5 books a month, about, give or take, depending on how long they are. And that would be like a 300 to 400 page book. So I think that 6 Shorty books is probably possible. If should I even, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'll just stick with that. I think I'm just not going to worry about the pile of possibilities. I think I'm not going to, I think that's good enough. Because I do have some others. Like I'll show you a couple of others. I'll show you the ones I'll show you my physical ones. This short, Joan Didion, South and West. I think that this is actually, may have some essays in it that I've already read. Because I think this is one of those little books that contains things that have appeared elsewhere. Says, Joan Didion has always kept notebooks of overheard dialogue, observations, interviews, drafts of essays, and copies of articles. Notes on the South traces a road trip she took with her husband, John Gregory Dunn, in June 1970 through Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Her acute observations about the small towns they passed through, her interviews with prominent local figures, and their preoccupations with race, class, and heritage seem to suggest a South largely unchanged today. California Notes began as an assignment from Rolling Stone on the Patty Hearst trial of 1976. Though Joan Didion never wrote the piece, watching the trial and being in San Francisco triggered thoughts about the West, the Hearsts, and her own upbringing in Sacramento. In South and West, we not only see Didion's acute understanding of the American political and cultural landscape with her signature irony and imagination in play, but we also get an illuminating glimpse into her mind and process. Okay, so I was wrong. Not things that have been published elsewhere, or at least not the West piece. So that could be intriguing. That's probably the next one that I would pick up. Just also to get a little bit of nonfiction in there. It's really short. It's only 126 pages. It's probably one of those that I could read in a day. So yeah, Shorty September. The others that I have are like The Messiah of Stockholm. This was on my list last year. This is Cynthia Oik. I have had this book on my shelf for an embarrassingly long time. I actually had this to read for a class. That was a long, long time ago. So, although, you know what? I read it a long time ago. I clearly read it a long time ago, and the reason I know this, but I have forgotten it, because notes. These are my notes. That's my handwriting. How funny is that? Dim light matches fire, the cave. Wow, what was I talking about? But yeah. Oh, look at this. I have all this. Look at all these notes. This is my handwriting. These are my notes. Wow, memory. Okay, so I should reread this because I've already read it and I don't remember it. All right, well, maybe we'll just put that one on there because I'm intrigued to know. I'm intrigued to read the book and read my notes. I want to read my own notes. That's kind of funny. All right. Clearly, this is not scripted. You can tell that I don't script anything, right? So I've got a couple other things that I'm going to pick up for September. One is this, Arcanum Unbounded by Brandon Sanderson. Yes, fantasy. My husband is reading Brandon Sanderson. He's reading one of the series. I couldn't tell you which one it is. It's one that I encouraged him to read because I looked up a bunch of fantasy, but he finished all of Robin Hobb. I mean, he finished all of Robin Hobb, everything, and including The Soldier's Son, which is probably the next thing that I'll try to pick up, even though I have not finished the Realm of the Elderlings series. But this is a book of short stories, and he was describing them to me as he was reading them, and they sound quite intriguing. And so I thought this would be fun to read, and also so we can talk about it, because you know, he's reading these big, long Brandon Sanderson novels. And, you know, I've got reading that I'm doing for myself and then for the channel. And it just is, you know, and plus I just, an 800 page book's just not my thing right now. But I can read this. So I'm gonna get into this, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. So that's gonna, yeah. Some of these books have oh, I guess it's the Stormlight Archive series. Is that what he's reading? Um yeah, some of these are connected. These stories are connected to some of the longer series, is my understanding. So I think that'll be good. And then I have to turn around. Sorry, back of my head. I am going to read finally, because I really wanted to do some books for the framed for the, I believe it's framed the art challenge, the art book challenge. Oh, wow, am I botching this? But Thunderclap, I really want to read Thunderclap. You can see I started it already. Heard great things about this. I've heard Angelia talking about it most recently on her channel. She really enjoyed it. I really want to read this, and then I want to plan a little trip to Delft to go check it out, because I think it would be kind of fun to do that, and like maybe you know, film a bit for the channel, and then we could all kind of see a bit of Delft together. We'll see if I can work that out. Yeah. What else? That's it, I guess. That's it right now. Those are my plans. I probably will have other books. Things will get in the way. I am a mood reader, so who really knows? But I think that there is something about shorter books, of making a list of shorter books, that does make you feel like you can get through them and you can finish them and not get distracted, because it's like it's a day or two. It's you know, I'm like 50 to 75 pages a day reader. So that's pretty, you know, and that gives me time to have time off. I mean, and that's an average, right? So there will be days that I read 10 pages, and there will be days that I read, you know, 60 pages. So that way I'm not like, and then, you know, I'll have the longer books on the go, and then the book of stories as well. So yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I hope that you're doing well out there. I know if you're like me, you're just so excited that autumn is around the corner. I just cannot wait. It's really warm here. For here, it's warm. It's very summery, end of summer. Uh, Sunny and hot, and then thunderstormy, and just kind of the light is lovely. I love this changing light. I love it when the days get shorter. It's awesome. So I hope that you are enjoying this change of season, and that things are, yeah, that things are going well. And I will hopefully be back. Tomorrow is a holiday. I get the day off, or I'm taking the day off, because everybody I work with mostly is American, and I work with an American company, and it's a holiday for everyone. Um, so I'll have the day off tomorrow, and I'm hoping to do another video, so maybe a tag video, but also maybe if I get the time, I'll try to squeeze in doing 2 videos, so I can kind of catch you up on what I've been reading and what's been going on. And yeah, that's my hope. So I will leave you with this mess of Shorty September. Thank you if you endured to the end. I appreciate you being here, and I will hopefully see you soon in the next one. Okay, take care. Bye.